In this video, I'm going to show you the best intake upgrade options for the N54 engine, including the 335i, 535i, and the 1 Series, as well as possibly other models. This video is so important because these intakes will determine whether you can do the kind of testing on your turbos that I'll show you in the future. Here's a part of the factory intake that's so restrictive. Now here's some great intakes that will fit, but they still use the factory intake pipes, so it is still restrictive. The good thing about these intakes is that they're really easy to install, but the downside is they use the factory intake piping. So to get rid of that, you do have to go relocated. The relocation kit is a lot of extra work, but with the relocation kit you can make up to 500 horsepower on the stock turbos. Here's what it looks like with the Sf Relocation Kit installed. The Sf intake is a 2.5 inch intake which reduces down to fit the turbos, which is 1.75 inches. If you're looking to make a lot more horsepower, then definitely go with the Sf intakes. However, if you're looking for a much easier install, I highly recommend that you choose one of the other intakes because they're a lot easier to put together. So here's your major options that you have for intakes. You can go with the Sf for $269. You could just do the filter upgrade. That's definitely the easiest. And then these are some of the overpriced ones that I didn't really like just because they still use the factory pipes and all that. And these are other relocation kits. The relocation kit is the one that I use. I just chose the Sf because it's the most cost-effective one. It's not as expensive as the other ones. So the reason why I picked the Sf, and I'll link to all these below so you can check those out. The reason why I picked these is because I can add the T-bolt clamps to them and use it for boost leak testing. The negatives though is that it does delete your blow-off valve recirculation if you want to recirculate your blow-off valves. It's not really that easy to install because I'm probably going to have to pull the subframe to install them, and they are flexible, so the negative to that is that maybe they suck in when I'm at higher RPM or higher boost. I don't really know. It's hard to know what's happening under the hood while you're driving. And then the air filters are kind of small. It is a relocation kit, so there's a little bit more involved in making it work. But the good thing is that you do get rid of the intake restriction. The stock plastic pipes are like a pancake on the front of the motor, in case you didn't see that. And the negatives are that, well, you're either limited to a 1.75 inlet to the turbos or 2-inch, so you have to buy one or the other. And if you decide to go with like the RB turbos or the ones with the larger inlets from like Vargas or something, then you have to change up your intakes. But you could cut the coupler and make that work. Otherwise, yeah, if you don't want to mess with that, you have to buy a new intake system or new couplers designed for your 2-inch inlets rather than your 1.75, which is the stock ones. So if you just do the filter upgrade, the good thing is it's an easy install, and it's but it still has the intake restriction, which is kind of sucky. You can't do boost leak tests with it because I've already tried it. I have the Burger intakes, so I'm going to be getting rid of those. The reason why you can't do a boost leak test is because it leaks down at the turbo when you try and pressurize the system. I'll show you how to do a boost leak test here in a second. And here's the overpriced ones. These look really fancy and they look really cool, but the reason why I'm not going with the engine or the AFE intakes is because you still have the factory restriction of the factory basically pancake intake that runs across the front of the motor. And yeah, they look great and they're probably easy to install. So there's other relocation kits out there, but the reason why I didn't go with any of those is because if I went with one company, I would have spent, well, it says $240, but that's without air filters. So by the time you buy air filters, you're already spending $300. There's another company that had them, same thing, over $300. I don't know if that included intake and air filters or not, so I just didn't even bother to look at it. Here's the intake system. It has these aluminum pipes that connects to these filters, and then the silicone couplers run down to the turbos. This is a relocation kit, so it also includes these brackets which are very professionally coded and everything. Some wiring, and also some, I guess these are for coolant or maybe the washer fluid tank or something, I'm not really sure. And some vacuum hose. It didn't come with T-bolt clamps. I bought those because I'll need those for doing the boost leak test. It came with these worm clamps, but these never really seal for pressure applications. They'll work okay for vacuum, but I'm not going to use those because I won't be able to use them for the testing. Here's what it will look like when you go to install the couplers and go to do your boost leak test. We'll have a T-bolt clamp here and a T-bolt clamp here to hold in the boost leak testers. I have two of them. That way when I pressurize the system, the air won't pressurize back up through the other air filter. And here's the other T-bolt clamp. I'll link to all the parts that I bought to do this in case you guys want to do this build the same way that I'm doing mine. For the T-bolt clamps that connect directly to the turbos, you need 2-inch clamps, not the 1.75. I bought the 1.75 ones and they were too small, and then I bought the 2.25 ones and they were too big. So make sure you get the 2-inch ones, and I'll link to all that stuff in the description box and put confirmed beside of it.